So, even Mr. Perfect wasn't perfect. And beyond perfect, there's no such thing. Except maybe it's something God the Father and Jesus, the perfect man. And Jesus, the perfect man. Humble and everything like that. You could turn away and you could be humble. Or you maybe not for. Or I meant maybe mostly humble. You could fight and you could be humble. And humble. TM, DH, TM. TM, beyond magnificent. Now, not all the time. My dad's perfect, not all the time, but he's been really great. And there's not beyond perfect. Well, not any of us. And I'm not magnificent most of the time. But mostly, in terms of talent, creative talent, and vision, and mind, and genius, and thought, and brain, or since I've been recovering, I have been magnificent. And since 2003. And I have a magnificent dog. Magnificent dog. Someone said Dingo Warrior, but I'm like, Ultimate Warrior? But I'm like, the Dingo. Go. Or Bullfrog? No, that never happened, not even for a while. It was, Bear? Here? Then like, Paul Stanley was the bandit, and Gene was basically like the bat, sort of, but he was never the fan. But then he said he would be. Well, why weren't you? And you haven't been. It wasn't even an action figure or anything like that. There could be a character. Maybe there was a character. But I'm talking like face paint. And Moran comes off easy with water from the face paint. Anyway, so I said I wanted to see Mark Zuckerberg, and it's not Mark Zuckerberg, it's the board of fucking Facebook. And Lanny Poffo said the entire WWE writers, all of them need to be fired. And I'd be the only WWE writer, because I have applied to them before, I've contacted Vince, he doesn't say nothing. But if he's actually heard Lanny Poffo, then why doesn't he do it? So, no. So, and there should only be one writer. 2 writers, 1 writer. 2 writers. And I'm still temporarily blocked from Facebook. This other one was, you can't ban somebody for life from a site. Especially just because you might not like a name. I said that before, thought that before. You might not really care about it. You're not supposed to be reading people's postings. I'm pretty sure Jimmy Carter, when he just went on to resume his regular life, and Nixon, luckily, and 4 that they had their own, when those sites came to be, they had their own sites links. I saw this one movie, but I thought it was inaccurate. Mel Gibson. Because it showed like Jesus in like reenactments of things and disciples and such and England or whatever. But we never had pictures, film back then. Didn't. Who knows if it was one pole? Who knows? If he was crucified from the front or from the back? If he was standing? How they did it? He got crucified, I think. So, how exactly? Or ropes? They said, actually, they didn't crucify Christ. They didn't say, well, basically, they didn't say, like, killing Christ. They didn't say, like, Christ. They didn't say Christ, or Jesus, or Yahshua. They said crucify. But how? And I've heard that was, like, for persecutions back then. Though, how do we know they did it like that? Because why would you want to hang somebody in there or crucify them? Why 2 boards? If it was 1 board, his arms would have to bend to the side. And the feet was on 1 board. So, or they wanted to humiliate him. They wanted to tie him up. I have some here. Yeah. And then they wanted him to leave Israel. And he wanted to leave Israel. I'm still temporarily blocked on Facebook. When I saw God the first time, it's not like I didn't believe it at all. I mean, there's something probably. But life was to be lived. It's living. One of the branches, one of the synagogues, they're praying to God the Father, and the Messianics would pray to both. And then Christians pray to the Son of God mostly, and God, and the Father, and the Father, and the first time I saw God the Father, I was upset, and I was a bit fearful. I was upset. And then I had starting to have these visions, and few were grotesque, or few were weird. Things, sort of like trolls, or sort of like beasts or these some sort of visions like that. I also seen a dog vision. Dog vision. I like dog visions. Um, um, but yeah, the second time I saw God the Father, no, it was stupid. Several times he's putting saying above him, and I was saying, he's taking our contest, this and this, and then someone say, well, then no, it wasn't, because he put a lot of things to be above or on earth or something like that. But God, now we know that Charleston has done the Ten Commandments, that God wrote the Ten Commandments. And I think it was a Ben-Hur or some Jesus movie. It never showed God the Father or Jesus writing the Bible. I meant to, maybe I said it right. Jesus did not write the Bible. It did not show him writing. He wasn't writing the Bible. He didn't write the Bible. God didn't write the Bible. God wrote the Ten Commandments. Now, obviously, some of these things in the Bible, most of them, it's true. It's fact. It's truth. It's but because even if there were visions, who knows? But God allowing Satan to be above him, seeming more bigger, that is stupid. Satan looks like he has a head the size of a fucking planet. Like, Saturn. I was gonna say, but it's like, God looks like Pluto. And in this like tweet of God, it's like the second time. The tweet of God is like, he's saying that he wants to give up. What? That's a blue analogy. I think I said that before. Even this one band was like, song, and they still haven't replied to me. You can't block somebody. Okay? They ain't there. Or if it was, it's still not monotony. Because God the Father and God the Father, says we all have a right to be luminous. And Jesus maybe is tall or who fuck knows. Even if though he did submit to death of the Reaper or whatever, and ain't tempted him or whatever, and who knows about the mountain thing. If someone was in hell and they really wanted to be good and they really didn't like that place, and instead of being tortured, why don't they just fight out of there? Why don't they try to escape? Because this one guy, this one word, this name, he escaped. If he went there. Or maybe he stayed on Earth. Or maybe he talked to God and maybe he went back to Earth. And about demons falling from this, some angels and they fell from the sky and they became demons, supposedly. Or they came to the Earth. And then how did they get human skin? How did they fucking take form? But we're peoples. Dirt, though, that was like the beginning of creation. And how did it come to be? I want to believe animals are animals maybe they could have been somebody in the past, maybe, but they got a clean slate. And animals are animals, and some animals want to be animals, and we're peoples, and the demons should not be, and demons should not be on Earth. They need to go into space. They need to get out of their atmosphere and never return. You have no right ruining this planet. You have no right tarnishing this planet. And no one said that I was right, but I knew I was right. And you're not going to do this. You don't even talk to me. Whatever Pharisees, Sadducees, whatever those things, whatever fucking tribe, Yiddish, Shepherd, those two other tribes, and whatever other tribes, none of you are chosen by God. Excuse me, I whooped some big devil. I whooped some ass on the devil. I fucking kicked his ass. That's not humble, but I did. Now. Or maybe now. So what? I mean now. You know? What now? You have a response to this? Just so you know. Yes, he's destructible. Yes, you could kick his ass. His ass. These were visions from church. Visions from church, then more visions at home, then other visions at home. Besides Jesus talking to Mary, I think Jesus loves Mary more than the Father, God the Father. What was God? And God should be God of all. Supposedly, I don't know which tribe, but of Muslim, and they stoned the devil, and on this one day, and then but some other tribe makes it seem like it's the devil. So, it's some tribe. It's like, what the fuck? I've exposed Islam. I've exposed Muslims. If like the letters had meanings, word notions, meanings. The men understand it's like a mental state. Men understand it's like a mental state. Insane suicide, less than murders. Insane suicide, something and murders. You know, fucking A. It's like, I mean, God could bless a guy with, you know. I think a few things were made up about Jesus, about like couple things. A couple things. I think a few things were made up about Muhammad. I think a couple things were made up about Siddhartha Gautama Buddha. About Buddha. I think something was made up about Ganesh. And there's Durga, Hanuman, and Isa. It's like Buddhists seek the highest enlightenment, Muslim, and the one, or the palm, or the pound. That's God. That is the higher power. That is the source. The source is the something. That's what Buddhists believe in God. They just don't want to say that word. If they said another word, it'd mean God. Buddhists, Hindus believe in God, Ganesh and Father, the Creator. It's the thing. Now, there's any bar about Jesus, or about some people, guys, or about religion. She's like, well, the religions that have female Odysseus, or at least one Odysseus, you know, why don't we worship a woman God? Well, maybe you're bipolar or something. No, but okay, seriously. Okay, seriously. That is a fair question. What if? Why not? I just will tell you one thing. I don't like the Queen of England. And when the government shut down, they said the colonies. There's only 13, and I was on the East Coast. Maybe she loves you. I'm trying. Oh, yeah. This one was like, yeah, I don't like that scene either. Yeah. Hopefully not. Can we please learn some respect, y'all, for life? The second time was different, but somebody said, you should have a bullet in your head. I think I reported. I hope he got in trouble. Hope he's getting in trouble. Do you know who I am? I've seen Jesus many times, but I've seen Jesus so bad, I don't need to see Jesus until I'm in my 60s or 70s. I've seen Jesus many times. And they've used plans for wars and stuff like that, and a few other things, and a couple other things, and it's like, for a couple other things, in history, or for the past years, in other countries, they crucified Jesus. They didn't disfigure him. They didn't dismember him. They didn't. It was sealed off, locked. And that someone really tough, someone tough, someone that would make sure that when hell is unlocked, once it's unlocked, once it is unlocked, it won't tell me that fucking stupid. That's stupid. Once it's unlocked, then it gets relocked. Once it's unlocked, it gets relocked. It gets locked in here. Locked in here. It shouldn't be unlocked. It should be locked. It should be locked. The place that I'm at, the two closest cities, or the city that I'm at, and the other city, closest city, and another closest city, and the city I'm in, and maybe another city. Locally, two main cities, and that God or somebody shows a vision and helps me, and they be my woman. Well, she'd be my woman, because, and I've tried non-locally too. I don't get it, because then she would come local. Then she would become local. Hopefully. But these local women, I've been trying, and it's like, new laptop, so. William Henry Harrison, father of 10, contributor of 10, with Anna, lived in a log cabin in Ohio, has a monument really big that's supposed to be forever. You got Washington, Andrew Jackson, Harrison, Grant, Mike, Eisenhower, Grant, Eisenhower, and it's Andrew Jackson, Lyman, Buchanan. Coolidge kept his promises. You had you got You got uh, you got Daniel Webster, Calhoun, Winfield Scott, Edward Kent, Governor Wicks, Henry Clay, William Henry Harrison, John Tyler, Secretary Taylor, Miller Fillmore. There's like 15 reasons to like Miller Fillmore. No, Miller Fillmore did not believe in slavery. If someone thought he did, no one's asked me, no one said anything. So, and Miller Fillmore is a great president. I have a belief that Monroe, Taylor, Pierce, Arthur, Harding, Wilson, Hoover, Reagan, Carter and Reagan, or Truman, Carter and Reagan, and all those other ones that I mentioned recently, they became Hitler. And to tell you the truth, Truman wasn't seen much, and he traveled elsewhere, and he believed this world stuff, and why would he always want to be on the moon? I don't get it. And Carter and Reagan, by the time Hitler was supposedly dead, after Truman or Eisenhower. So I don't know why I believe Truman would be Hitler or Carter or Reagan, and all those other ones. Well, he was born in 1889, so Monroe became Hitler. These early presidents were great for America, but they were trying to have countries have respect for America. Though Monroe knew that the people that these so-called things and these parties supposedly and supposed leadership in America was false. So Monroe wanted to teach America a lesson, and he was a former president and a great president. Now, in none of the wars, I'm pretty sure, not even the coastal states were not attacked. Not. So, how was Germany a threat? Prussia? How was Japan a threat? Besides them killing whales, which there was whale wars. How was Italy a threat? Did they talk about expansion? What were they talking about? I didn't say they did. I said, were they? Was Prussia a threat? Was Vietnam a threat? Was Korea a threat? Then? No, because it's never happened. But we did go to war against them. Why? The English, and we had two revolutions. Because if we didn't, the shutdown might have said, well, secretly they might have meetings for them to be colonies. And it's like, but there was 13. It's like, Belch and Nage and God. Barron supposedly was accused of having royalty and false ownership. Grant and Hayes and Cleveland, the Mugwumps, Benjamin Harrison, the Mugwumps were close to the Whigs. Someone said the Whigs were close to the Democrats, and someone said the Mugwumps was like the Republican, but Cleveland said he didn't like the Republicans. Actually, Cleveland was a Democrat, but so he was basically a Whig, or basically a Mugwump Whig, or the Whig Mugwumps. Actually, my dad said the Mugwumps ideals actually came around the same time as the Whigs, but you suppose the same time as the Whigs, but you didn't have the Mugwump Party. But Cleveland said he was a Mugwump. It should say that. So, because the so-called Republicans are self-absorbed. And I'm not talking about tax either. Maybe the marijuana thing, but hopefully moderation. But that's not going to help the moderation, hopefully. Though, I mean, yeah, that's going to help the economy. Maybe a lot. But then what if people, supposedly, the leadership thing, what if they put type some figures and say spending for this, spending for that, and or if some of the figures, are they saying some of the stuff is used, like when they say millions, billions, trillion, or millions, billions, billions, millions, millions, multi-thousands, and thousands, millions? Does that mean all of the money's being used? The final statistic of what they're saying they're spending for this, for that, for this, for this, for that, and is it final, or is only some of it being used? We want to know if all of the money being pledged is being used, because it shouldn't be all used, or if it is used at once and that's wrong. If so, that's wrong. We could be back totally strong economically with one president, and then the next president, some people spend. That should be illegal. Illegal spending over expenditures without greatly considering, or without astonishingly considering the people's thoughts and words, feelings, and not to upset, not to. So you have the Muslims, and you have the Democrat, Republican, and people have been saying recently, third party, fourth party, fifth party, and main one, and they're saying and then they're saying, well, the Democrat and Republican has always been a Ponzi scheme, and there's paid opposition, and they're opposition, but only via words. So W. Bush and Clinton, BAM, I think, is illegal, invalid, illegitimate. W. Bush, Clinton, the past. Well, supposedly Clinton was. We had a good economy, supposedly. Or Hoover, or Wilson, or Ford, Rockefeller, and the administration. Yeah, it's like and then we should use like all the currencies, and the presidential dollar coins, and that $1 coin, and 50-cent coin, and all the coins, and we need to utilize them. And we need to stop the digital pledges of money. I'm all for digital. You have a pretty big hand, but you said people like me, like you, like you, or me. But it's like, besides you having a big head, no pun intended, but you do. To this one guy. We are a bit similar. You mean like them? They. Someone said them, they, them. Or demons. It's like, you don't look like a demon, you look like a person. Digital expenditures. No. Coins.